Well, it's week 38 of the golfing calendar and another big weekend in golf, particularly for Ryan Fox. Now, with a massive thanks to our great mates at Ping, contact your golf shop or pro to arrange a Ping club fitting and you'll be playing your best in no time. This is the #1 Australian golf podcast, Talk Birdie to Me. Here's the former world number 16, Nick O'Hearn, and 15-year tour pro, Mark Allen.
So, Nick, you've been...
Sorry. Still turn the aircon.
Oh, yeah.
I cranked the fan up nice and high.
That's fine.
It was hot in here when I got in.
Let's start the show.
Start like that.
Let's start the show with that, shall we?
Start like that.
Oh, dear. It's hot as playing as in Singapore.
That's the most disgustingly hot...
Kuala Lumpur, actually.
Quite often when I've played there, I've thrown out all of my clothes at the end of the week because it was so hot.
All stuck together.
What, in Singapore?
Or Malaysia.
Yes.
Just
Indeed.
throw them all out.
Yep.
Throw every bit of every pant, every shirt. They're gone.
There's an amazing invention called a washing machine.
Nah,
You
this
could do
was
that.
unrepairable.
Oh.
Gone.
No, he's a neat freak, Mark. I've heard about his bag from our good friend Lee Trevino, about how pristine it is and how the
Correct.
clubs are all in a certain order and everything.
That is correct. Now, I imagine that's all going to be in the program, is it, Dan?
I don't know.
Probably. Hey, let's start the show. We got a lot of winners to talk about, particularly Hendy and a couple others, Nick. But I just want to run something past you because you are my unofficial golf coach these days.
Okay.
So I've been working on, in my backswing, I feel like I'm dropping my head 2 inches because when I've been filming, I've been raising a lot.
Okay.
Okay, so when I feel like I'm dropping 2 inches, it looks right. It looks absolutely right. My foot doesn't bounce around the front one.
So you're feeling as though you drop, but you don't drop at all.
That's right.
You just stay nice and level.
That's right.
Okay.
Although I do hit a lot of shots fat because I'm coming down, but the good shots are really good. I had 3 birdies in a row and 5 total last week. So I was happy with that. I started hitting some good shots.
Okay.
But I want to run this past you. I slowed my backswing down.
Oh, perfect.
And it was like, it's the stupidest,
It's
most
night and day.
simple thing, but I slowed it down.
And you hit the ball further.
Tension went out of my hands. The tension went out of my body. And I was hitting the ball further with a slower backswing. It is the stupidest game because that is the tip that when I watch amateurs play the game, it's almost the #1 tip every single time. Slow down.
I was talking about this the other week. I said I had a game up at Cathedral and I was playing with David Evans up there and I said, David, slow your backswing down. And sure enough, he did, and he hit the best drive of the day.
It's ridiculous. And when you go down and watch the pros play, I don't care whether the girls or the boys or the seconds or a major, you go down to that driving range, and what is amazing when you stand there and watch them all is how slow pretty much everybody's backswing is.
Yep. You get the odd person who has a faster tempo, like if you watch...
Charlie Hull.
Ludwig Aberg.
Ludwig.
He actually... Ludwig, sorry, not Ludwig. Is it Ludwig or Ludwig?
Ludwig.
Ludwig,
Nick
okay.
Price.
Yes. Tom Watson.
Tom Watson.
Yeah, plenty of... There are... Brant Snedeker. There are a lot of good players with the faster tempo, which is fine.
We've just done our top 5 for fast swings, by the way. Anyway.
What's your point? You're hitting the ball
so
better,
my point
slowing
is,
the backswing.
Coach, things are going well, and I'm going to start
Excellent.
to slow my backswing down as well. And I reckon I've got a low score in me sometime soon. I just want one more that's it. I just want one more super low, like 8 or 9 or 10 under par day. I reckon I've got one left in me. Just one.
What's your handicap at the moment?
+1.
+1. So you're going to have to. Well, it's 43 points or something like that.
Yeah, that's
44.
right. That's
Okay.
right. But I think it's there somewhere, and I appreciate all your help. I do. You notice because this is my new goal is to shoot the one low one. I don't care about my short game anymore. I just want to rip it. I just want to rip it and hole some putts. Let's talk about the golf because we saw some beauties on the weekend. We thought Ludwig Aberg, who the tee announcer on the last day called him Oberg.
Oh, really?
Not once, but twice called him Oberg.
Disrespectful.
How do you get that? You got an A with a dot above it. That is Aberg in anyone's language.
Okay.
So he turns up. I thought it was going to be just a march into 2 wins in your first 2 months on tour as a professional, and it was anything but. Anything but.
I agreed. I thought, what did he have? A 2-shot lead to start the day?
Two
One
shots,
shot,
yep.
And I thought it was going to be a bit of a procession. Bogey's the first, gets that back with a birdie on the par 5 fourth, and then the double on 5. All the momentum, everything went out of his sails just right there, and Hatton just took control of it.
Yeah.
Until
Ryan Fox.
Well, Hatton kind of let him back into it. Hatton actually had a 4-shot lead with 7 holes to go at one point, and on the 15th tee, he hit one out of bounds. It was the old snipe hook, Gonski. He made a great bogey.
Yeah.
He birdied his second ball.
Did he really? He holed the bunker shot a little earlier as well. Okay, so I didn't know he hit the out of bounds.
But he was tied for the lead right there with Fox. But Ryan Fox, how's this? Triple bogey on the 3rd hole.
Tournament over. Yeah. At that stage, anybody else, I guess not anybody else.
He's on the second page of the leaderboard.
It's over. Yep. You've triple bogeyed the 3rd.
It was incredible, but he spoke about it afterwards. He's been working with a guy called Carl Morris, and him and another guy, I'm trying to remember, but they've written those series of books like The Lost Art of Putting and that.
Yeah, they're
very, very good. And
they're good books.
Carl's great. He does a really good podcast himself, but he's been working with him, and the one thing he said afterwards, he said, I just forgot about the score, or I forgot about everyone else. What I was trying to do for the rest of the round was just beat the course. Just play every shot on its merits and beat the golf course. And I tell you what, he beat it because he came home in 8 under from that point on. And what really impressed me the most was he came to the 18th hole. He was, one ahead of Hatton. He drove it between the 2 bunkers, sort of in the first cut of rough, very reachable for him. Because that back 9, there's 3 reachable par 5s. Anything can happen. And that's one of the reasons, it's a great finish, I think, that back 9 at Wentworth. We'll talk about the course in a little bit. But Hatton in front of him made a wonderful up and down for birdie. So he's tied him. Fox is there. And the commentators were all saying, yeah, the lie's fine. I think he'll go for it. But they'd had a bit of wet conditions throughout the day. It seemed to be sitting down a little. And I tell you what, I was so impressed by the composure he showed because he just laid it up to a number. Yeah. He had plenty of club to get there if he wanted to. He thought, no. If I go for it and I screw this up, well, I'm probably going to lose the golf tournament.
It's over.
If I put it in the fairway, worst case, I'm in a playoff. I'll back my wedge game. I've been wedging it really well all day, and he hit probably the wedge of his life to about 6 feet above the hole and rolled it in. It was magnificent.
How many birdies on the back 9? 6.
6 under 31 because it's a par 37. Yeah. He ended up shooting, what do you have, a triple and 8 birdies, so he shot 5 under 67 after the triple. That's incredible.
I want to ask you this because, when you get to that level, they got stacks of cash, right? So cash isn't a factor. I want to know from your perspective, have you ever made a big number early in the last round and just thought to yourself, well, I'll get them next week, and because you actually relax,
you play better.
Things start to happen. You're out of the tournament. I'm swinging well. I've just had one bad hole. It's not like I've had 3 bad holes. I've just had 1 bad hole. Did that ever happen to you?
Well, it's funny. So the weird thing is, 2005, because I played European Tour for a long time, and this tournament back in 2005, I was doing really well after 2 rounds.
The PGA?
The PGA
yeah, okay.
at Wentworth. Doing very nicely, top 5 or so, and I just shot myself in the foot 3rd day. Shot a 76, 4 over. I'm thinking, I'm out of it. Went out with Ian Poulter the final round. Yeah. And I bogeyed the first hole, and I'm like, well, hello, how are we going now? And ended up shooting 64 and came 3rd because I just relaxed and played beautifully. So it's one of those things where when you think you're out of it and you just relax a little and you just let it go, and it's, as you say, your favourite comment, it's a stupid game sometimes.
It is a stupid game.
You play better when you just don't care as much.
That's right. You hit it further when you don't hit it as hard. It is a ridiculous game. It is crazy. Tell me this. How'd you get along with Ian Poulter that day? Because he's not everybody's favourite.
No, he wasn't very happy that day because he doesn't like to be beaten. And
I cleaned him right up.
Well, I got off to that bad start. He got off to a good start, and he thought, here we go. I've got him, no problem. But I just, always, made me play a little bit better whenever you play with Poults. He's one of those characters that can either rub you up the wrong way or not, but it's fine. And, he's obviously had a hell of a career. But great win from Fox, becomes the first New Zealander to win this tournament.
Yeah, fantastic.
A New Zealander has won around there before that. Michael Campbell, he won the World Match Play back in 2005, I think it was as well, when they used to have that World Match Play. That was a great tournament.
I kept on hearing them say that Wentworth has hosted over 100 European Tour events because they used to have the Match Play,
the double,
and the PGA every single year. Which is enormous, and that's why I think we know it so well.
We do.
And if you've ever been there, it's one of the most beautiful properties you could ever go to. I don't think the TV, even though the TV coverage was superb, I don't think it does it justice. Now, I want to ask you this because you saw the course the way it was.
Mm.
Was it Ernie Els who did the makeover? It wasn't as well received as Ernie had hoped. I think he actually lives on the golf course.
Yeah,
too,
he's got a
doesn't he?
property. I think Justin Rose, Darren Clark, a few of the guys have got all house, and the housing out there is incredible.
Yeah,
It's a
ridiculous.
wonderful estate. Yeah, Ernie did the changes back in 2009,
Yeah.
and sorry, Ernie, but they were terrible.
They were bad,
They
were
were
they?
shocking. Yeah, the golf course just completely changed, and it just wasn't what. I mean, Wentworth was always, a very, very good golf course. Great, I'm not so sure, but it was always very good, and it went to just kind of ordinary at that point. And then 2017, they came back, and he softened it a lot more, made a lot more changes, and everyone's gone right.
So they
Now
threw
we're back on track.
They threw Ernie the keys again.
They
I was
did.
going to ask you
Yeah.
who came in and patched it up, but Ern did it himself.
Ernie did it himself, yeah. So
I'm sure he didn't charge much the second time around.
maybe that's the trick about being architects. You got to screw it up a little so that you got to come back and fix and make more money. But I'll tell you, the other player who really impressed me was Aaron Rai. I mean, he hit an incredible shot on the last hole and lipped out for eagle to tie what would have tied Ryan Fox in the end. It was a magnificent finish for him, and he's a Wolverhampton boy, so I've got a soft spot from him because my family's from up that way.
It's funny because I watched him hit off. I watched him hit off, and I watched Ludwig hit off as well.
Yeah.
Ludwig hit a little pulley one right down the left-hand side with an iron,
Mm-hmm.
and then made that bogey. Rai got up with his pair of gloves on, which is the worst look I've ever seen in professional golf, mind you.
Black gloves, and he also has, how's this? Iron covers. Do you
Yeah.
ever- I've never seen that in a golf pro.
Not a double. That'll never happen again in the history of professional golf, where someone will be double gloved their whole career and have iron covers. And the other thing, Nick, about his gloves, they're loose. They went in for the close-up. Now, I always had my gloves as tight as possible because there was no air bubbles and it just felt like it was a much better grip. And folks, just a quick masterclass. When you put your glove on, close your fist and then do the Velcro. Don't do the Velcro with an open hand. That doesn't work. Close your fist, do the Velcro, and you'll get this beautiful tight feel. Don't look at me like I don't know what I'm talking about.
I've just learned something because I don't do that.
Anyway, they went in on the close-up, and they didn't even look like the beautiful leather gloves that you and I got from FootJoy our entire careers.
They look like the wet weather gloves.
They look like wet weather
They
gloves.
do. Yep. Which was handy because there was a rain delay for about an hour and a half, so he didn't have to go back and change them or anything like that. But
Never seen. Well, we saw Tommy Two Gloves who played.
Tommy Two Gloves, yeah.
Tommy Two Gloves played on the US tour, but he didn't have iron covers.
No, he didn't. No, that's for
Geez,
sure.
you guys hate
No.
iron covers, don't you?
Well,
you
It's
really
disgusting, Dan.
Hate 'em. You really hate them.
They are disgusting.
It's one of those things. If you want to look like a good golfer, I wouldn't put iron covers on. But maybe if they help you protect it, that's fine. Well and good. The other thing
you
about
need a few dints on your irons.
Yeah.
You've got to have them worn in a little bit.
I'll tell you what, it was a good week for all the European Ryder Cup team because all 12 players made the cut.
Did they?
Yeah,
And Maronk?
and Maronk did as well.
Yeah,
he
he
was
made the
going well for a while, but Rahm was fourth, Hovland was fifth, Fleetwood sixth, Rory seventh. He made a charge there at the end as well, and the picks, Aberg obviously a striker. They had top tens, but even the captain Luke Donald made the cut. How's that? So they're flying right now. Can't say the same for the Americans. I'll talk about that when we talk about the PGA Tour. But on the Aussie front, very good results for Adam Scott came home nicely,
Yes.
68, tied seventh.
Yes.
Minwoo Lee had a bit of an up and down week. He
Yes.
had some incredible short game on that 18th, the first 2 days. Just
Yeah.
if you ever get on social media and look at those up and downs, and he hold one for eagle, it was ridiculous.
On Minwoo's social
Minwoo.
media? Yeah. Good. He posts all the good stuff.
Yeah, I think he called one of them a flopodopoulos or something like
Flopodopoulos.
that. Yeah, it was quite good.
He's a good boy.
Yeah. He finished tied 14th, and Jason Scrivener, for the other Aussie who made the cut, was tied 25th. So all in all, a fantastic week at the BMW Championship.
And Dan, when you came in today, I mean, you watched a little bit as well, and you saw Minwoo give Ryan Fox the biggest hug of all time. I've missed this.
It wasn't just a hug. He literally ran to him and gave him a big hug to congratulate him for winning. I just thought it was a lovely gesture. Lovely.
Yeah. No, it is.
No, well, they're good mates, and that's what mates do. You hang around the 18th, and all kudos to him. I think he did the same at the Belfry when Daniel Hillier won, correct? Because I think he's a good mate of his as well. So they all hang out together, and that's the thing with the European Tour is they're in much more closer quarters there because back when I was playing and everything, everyone would catch the bus together, you'd stay at the same hotel, eat at the same restaurants. The US Tour is a bit more separate and individual, and I think that's one of the reasons Europe has just gone so well in the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other bloke who I reckon will be stoked about Ryan Fox winning.
Who's that?
Joseph from Napier in New Zealand, who we spoke to last week.
Oh, that's right.
He'd be over the moon.
He
Good on you,
would.
Joseph.
Oh, yes.
Over the moon.
Absolutely.
Hey, just another top 5 idea. The top 5 hugs in golf. So we got Minwoo and Ryan Fox.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Craig Spence, the 99 Australian Masters champion, and Greg Norman. And we've got Greg Norman and Nick Faldo hugging after Greg's, had a 7-shot lead and ended up losing by 4.
No.
We just need 2 more hugs. If get in touch with us on our socials.
That's not my top 5. I got a different top 5.
I know that, but my mind's gone. If you can think of any more hugs in golf and could finish off our top 5 there, get in touch with our socials and we'll get you on the podcast next week. What about Hendy? Now, he's had a win on the Champions Tour in his very first event. I reckon that is just enormous, Nick. Can you imagine doing that? I mean, you went and commentated in what tournament, and he kind of hit one out of bounds in the last and threw things away?
I was in Asia a few weeks ago commentating the Indonesian Open, and he played an incredible back 9 to stand tied for the lead on the par 5 18th, hooks it out of bounds and loses the golf tournament by 2, unfortunately. So Hendy's always been one of those players. He's very streaky and he can light it up and he can crash and burn at the same time. In this particular case, he was about 5 or 6 shots behind going into the back 9. He birdied 6 of his last 7 holes and wins the golf tournament by 1 on the Legends Tour. As you said, it's his debut. It was the Winston Golf Senior Open in Germany. So his senior tour career has got off to an amazing start.
Well, how long does a win get you over there? Because, I mean, it's a license to print money. There are no cuts. And, of course, if you follow Hendy on social media, a lot of his best work is on Friday night when he's had a few wines at the airport and he tells you why he's missed the cut.
Yeah. No.
So all of a sudden he has this win on the Champions Tour.
Well, it's the Legends Tour.
Legends
actually.
Tour.
Yeah.
No more cuts. He's away.
Yeah. No, it'll suit him perfectly, I think. The only thing with the Legends Tour in Europe, there isn't as many tournaments as in the US. He'll want to get back there, I'm assuming, because I think his base is in Jacksonville or in Florida anyway. So
is it? I believe so. I thought he was a Queensland born and bred.
No, he's lived over there for a long time.
Stay tuned, because if you're a slicer, then my masterclass is on Hendy and his grip. So stay tuned for that. Hey, we got a jam-packed show, but I can't let you out of my sight without asking you this question, because I just got off the phone to Box Hill Golf Club. And Box Hill Golf Club, they have the Gorilla Ladders Pro-Am.
Okay.
And, of course, last year you were the guest speaker.
I was.
And they loved you so much. This year they want you to come back and do lunch.
Do lunch this time.
So
okay.
you got to tell your Tiger Woods I beat Tiger Woods twice story at lunch, but we also want you to play. Would you be able to play? And you can play with 7 clubs. We don't care.
What's the date?
It's Derby Day Eve.
Okay, when's that?
We'll
look it up anyway.
I'll find out for you. I don't have it off the top of my head.
But
the Gorilla Ladders Box Hill Pro-Am.
If I'm free, I'm there. I've never played Box Hill. I've always wanted to after last year going there and having a look at from the balcony. I saw it was such a wet day last year too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Hey, are we going to talk about Sahith the Gal?
We need to, yes. And by the way, ping player,
yes. Another one who's had a win.
Tyrrell Hatton, another ping player, almost had the win at Wentworth, but it was also, it was the Fortinet Championship in the Napa Valley. Oh, I'd love to play that tournament, by the way. A couple of reds before you go out. But
what if it's on the same day as the Box Hill Pro-Am?
Well, we'll make it work.
We'll make it work.
We'll make it work.
But it's the first event of their fall series. So this is the last lot of events before the final stage of the PGA Tour this season. A lot of guys playing for their status, playing for cards, playing to get into those signature events next week. Next year. And it was also Aaron Badley's 500th event.
That's a mighty effort.
It is, yeah. I was doing a bit of research. He becomes the 6th Australian to play 500 events on the PGA Tour. The others are Steve Elkington, Appleby, Jim Ferrier, Bruce Campton, Robert Allenby.
Allenby had to be in there.
That's a good little class to be in, you could say. And the pairing they gave him in the first 2 rounds, how's this? Chalmers and Ogilvy, 3 Aussies, all playing together. It was like playing an Aussie tour event.
Like playing the Australian PGA. That's a legitimate pairing at the Australian PGA.
And good news is Aaron is coming down to play the Australian Open this year, first time since 2016.
Oh, that is great news.
I wonder if he'll bring the 6 kids. That's a lot of luggage.
I reckon he will.
Yeah,
if his kids haven't been to Australia,
I'm sure they
why
have.
wouldn't you bring them to Sydney? I mean, Sydney's one of the most beautiful countries in the whole world. I bet that's part of the deal.
Well, I'd hope so. Yeah.
Well, it may well be part of the deal. Hey, Greg Norman not on that list of 500?
Apparently not. Well, no, which kind of surprising But,
it is, but it isn't, because once upon a time, Greg Norman, when he spent his 331 weeks in a row at world number one, he used to play the bare minimum of events on the US tour.
A bit like Tiger in that regard.
Yeah, that's right.
Tiger wouldn't have played 500.
Well, Greg used to play 13 events and win the Order of Merit on the stage. And people forget that stuff. He didn't play a full season and win their Order of Merit. Greg would play 13 events, the bare minimum, and actually win by a lot, their Order of Merit. He was so good.
In that regard, you'd have to play 30-something years on tour to do it.
Yeah,
And,
impossible.
20 events a year, that's 25 years worth of golf. I think Bads has been on there about 20 years, and he's probably played 25 events per year. So it was a great effort. But getting back to Thagala, what a great win.
Oh.
I mean, the family, the friends, all just hooping and hollering. They had the whole Indian community down there by the looks of it. It was brilliant.
And you know what? I reckon every time he does a press conference before, they talk about getting your first win because he's been so close. He's been so close. He's been so close. And, of course, the last hole was a par 5 and he buggered that. You know, he won by a couple, but the nerves were still there.
Well, he had a 3-shot lead, so that's okay. But the other guy who played pretty well, it was good to see, was Justin Thomas. He's been a captain's pick, obviously, for the Ryder Cup. He finished in 5th. Cameron Davis. What a comeback by him, by the way.
No bogey, 65.
No, he was in the final group there with Sahith, and he got off to a pretty ordinary start, the front 9, and then he chips in off the dirt for eagle on 12. Have a look at that on the social media. That was an incredible one, and he came back 5 under his last 7, and he finishes solo 3rd. Big cash, and it also moves him up into that spot where hopefully he can get into those signature events next year. Lucas Herbert, the other one, he got off to a flyer Thursday, didn't he?
63. Yeah, beautiful start. Where did he finish?
Tied 30th. It wasn't great after that. He was around level par the rest of the way.
That helps his ranking though, right?
It does.
His ranking's going to help. And a lot of players who are already basically exempt next year, they actually play these fall events to help their ranking at the end of the season.
The other thing was, if you watch the interview with Thagala afterwards, you could see he was there with his mum and dad. It meant so much to him to get this first win because last season, not long ago, he had a late bogey in the tournament preceding the Tour Championship to miss the Tour Championship, that top 30, which would have guaranteed him a whole lot of stuff. And unfortunately, he didn't get it done. But it was great to see him there with his parents and everyone, and they were just so proud. And if I'm never probably going to experience that because my girls don't play golf, but it'd be wonderful to see your child do something incredible of what he's done and how proud they must feel.
Could you imagine? I love the way he swings at it too. It's an unusual, excellent swing.
Yeah.
You know, he's got that shaft just pointing just over the ball, the right direction at the top of his backswing, and then he just whoosh!
No.
The whole body just turns through, monster follow through. You know he's just going to hit big fades all day.
He's kind of a homemade type swing, isn't it? And you can just see he loves to stand up there, visualise it, and shape the ball left to right, right to left. And by the way, kids, I know you were listening probably then. I am very proud of you of what you do. And I know not golf related, obviously. So I better get that in because by the time they listen to this, I might be in a bit of strife.
Hey, we've got the Ping global results a little bit later, but because this guy is a Ping player, I did have a bit of a squiz at his what's in the bag.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, I don't know about you, Dick. I don't know how big a golf dork you are, but I'm in the upper echelon of golf dorks. I love it.
You called him Dick.
Did I? I did not.
You did. You said, I don't know about you, Dick, but golf dork.
Okay.
Leave that in because it's reasonably funny. I don't know about you, Nick, but my golf dorkism is at next level.
I know.
I'm a next level golf dork, and I love looking at the what's in the bag. So I really do. I just enjoy it. I'm always curious.
Whose bag were you looking in?
Thagala.
Oh, Thagala's.
The
okay.
Ping player, because we're a Ping show. We got the Ping global results a little bit later, so I quickly slid in there. What I noticed, 10.5-degree drive, it's no big deal. The fairway wood. How many amateurs just go quickly to the 15-degree? That's a fairway wood. That's my 3-wood. You just throw it in the bag, and you see them hit it, and they just can't even get the thing in the air.
Yeah,
it happens
loft.
a hell of a lot. Thagala's number one fairway stick, 18 degrees.
Perfect. It's like a 4 or 5 wood, isn't it?
It's a 4-wood. That's right. And I've got 3 woods in my golf bag as well. 10-degree driver. I've got a 15-degree short 3-wood that I've told you both about.
You love that club.
And I love that club because on sandbelt golf courses, just the drive on some holes, but it's a fairway finder. But the club that I love to hit off the fairway is an 18 degree. And when I hit that, it actually goes at a really nice trajectory. I mean, it's comfy. I get it in the air. But for all those amateurs out there who are thinking about, maybe you're not happy with your fairway wood at the moment, 1, 18 degrees is really good. But 2, it naturally comes at a much shorter length than the other ones do. So you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm really big on the short 3-wood or the short fairway club. Next time you're looking for a fairway wood that works, have a think about just having the number 1 as an 18 degree because, like I said, you'll kill 2 birds. It'll be shorter and easier to hit off the fairways. So have a think about it. I reckon it's really important. It's great to see that sort of stuff. Someone like Dustin Johnson's got a 16.5 degree fairway wood as his go-to.
Yeah. No, a lot of the pros out there do have that. They have that sort of 16 to 18 degree range, and it's well worthwhile because, in a way, the 3-wood for a lot of the players there, if they carry a 14 or 15 degree, some of them it almost goes as far as their driver, so it's not really much point having it in the bag. Something with a bit more loft, especially playing the US Tour, because you need that height over there and you don't have to hit it so low. It's perfect.
People are loving the, what do you call it, Dan, where people record their voice and ask a question?
Voicemail.
They're loving this voicemail feature. Where do they get it again?
It's talkbirdie2me.com.au and you can leave a voicemail for you guys.
Oh, no.
Perfect.
I reckon we both shot about 31 or 32 on that front nine. I'll see you on the 10th tee.
All right, cheers.
Like the podcast? Oh, maybe tell a friend. Drop them a text or share it on your socials. This is Talk Birdie to Me with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
Where is the complaints department here at Talk Birdie to Me? Have we got one?
Well, we've got an HR department we can go to, sure. Yeah, what's the problem? You got a drama?
Well, Nick, we had an Australian win.
Yeah.
Handy, even though, it's European tour, Legends sort of tour. Nothing. No bottle of anything. No clink at the start of the show.
Well, I thought some other people might actually, delve into their cellar for a change, but obviously not. I'll grab one on the way out.
Poor form.
Apologies. We got a couple of questions. We've also got the feedback. We got the Ping Global results. We haven't spoken about the Solemn Cup yet as well, which starts this week. So we've got plenty to get through. So what's first, Dan?
Well, why don't we check a voicemail? We'll see what we've got there.
You have one new voicemail.
Nice.
New message.
Loving the podcast, guys. Keep up the great work. It's Paul Higgins. On the top 5 short swings, I think there's one that could have fit in the top 5, which is Tony Finau. I think he's got a pretty short swing. Love to know why he didn't get in your top 5. Thanks.
Yeah, Nick, why didn't Tony Finau get in your top 5?
Oh, well, he's a ping player too, so. Paul's actually spot on there. I did miss that one.
2 superstars of the game at the moment did most of their practice in their garage.
Yes.
So Tony Finau is one.
He's one. Yep.
His dad made him a golf net in the garage. The other one is Tyrrell Hatton.
Really?
Tyrrell Hatton did so much practice in his backyard. His dad did it. And, it's funny because, I've done a bit of practice in a net as well. Because you're not so concerned where the ball goes, you actually get the job done if you're trying to work on some technique. So if, for instance, you're trying to dip on your backswing 2 inches, what sort of a crazy tip would that be? If you are trying to do that, all of a sudden you don't care about the shots that you hit fat. All you're caring about is managing the technique. So it's not a bad place. I think it's a good place. You've got to do a bit of both. You've got to see where the ball goes, but maybe early on in technique, it's not silly.
Not silly at all. I actually do recommend it for people who are changing their swings, because when you go and have a practice session, if there is a net near the range, as you say, Mark, do your technique and work in there, because then you don't know where the ball's going. So you're almost bringing everything internal. You're thinking about what your body's doing, the moves, etc. You're exaggerating it all. Yeah. If you see the ball going down the fairway, you go, oh, why did that happen? I better change things. Because you can't see it, you work solely on technique. That's perfect. And then after that, get out onto the range. Then you want to hit some shots and see where the ball goes and so on and so forth. Great tip there.
One of the funny things too, this is just happens to me recently. At Kingston Heath, there's a 9-iron range. You go down and hit some balls on the 9-iron range and off you go. At Royal Melbourne, because they've been doing the car park lately, there's been no range. So I always just hit a couple of balls into the net behind the first tee. Yep. I've ripped my drive off the first at Royal Melbourne every time I've done that, now that I'm thinking about it, because I guess all I'm worried about is my feels, what my swing feels like it. I don't care where the ball goes. I get on the first tee, I just try and copy those feels.
No, exactly. A lot of players, they get caught up in how they're hitting the ball on the range beforehand. The late, great Peter Thompson, he always just used to say I was focused on beforehand was a nice light grip pressure and just a bit of rhythm. And then I go to the first and away I go.
Away you go.
Simple.
Good on
You
you,
might have
Tomo.
heard that beat before. We've got another voicemail. Want to check a second one?
Oh,
Yeah, let's go.
cool.
All right, let's go for it.
You have one new voicemail. New message.
G'day guys, just out here walking the dog while listening to the potty. I'm a long-suffering lefty and I wanted to see what your opinion is on a left-hander's hole, right-hander's hole. How is it defined? Just want to understand it.
Yeah, good
Thanks,
question.
guys. See ya.
Good question. I hope your doggy's going okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm a left-hander, so I can
Yeah.
answer this one if you like. Sorry, what was his name again? I
That
missed
was
it.
that was Rai Coleman.
Oh, okay. Okay, right. As a fellow lefty, it's funny. A lot depends on the shape of shot that you hit, whether you're a fader or a drawer of the ball. So if you're a fader of the ball, like a lot of left-handers, you do like those dog legs to the left.
That's right.
And if you're a drawer of the ball, well, you want it to dog leg the other way. So whatever hole shape is going, and that's the shape of shot you hit, that's always good. The other part I find is I never really liked trouble on my left-hand side as a left-hander golfer. So if there's water down the left, I can sort of see that pretty clearly. Whereas if it's to the right, I can't, and I don't really think about it. And one of the reasons the old course at St Andrews I love is because all the out of bounds is on the right-hand side for me. So I just never think I'm going to hit it right, which is great. I can just blast everything left. I don't know about you, mate.
Well, I always hit it left and right, so there weren't too many holes that suited me. I'd fade one week and draw the next. But I always go back to Augusta when this conversation comes up, because years ago when it was wooden clubs and Bellata balls, if you hit a draw, you got the extra length and you had to draw it around those holes at Augusta. But later, once the ball was going 1,000,000 miles an hour and most professional golfers were hitting fades, then Augusta turned from a right-hander's paradise to a left-hander's paradise, because you had guys like Bubba Watson winning, Phil Mickelson winning, the Canadian kid who's a very good player. I used to play a lot of practice rounds with him. What is his name? Left-handed Canadian.
Oh, Mike Weir.
Mike Weir. Mike Weir won there as well.
Yep.
So it's funny because, like I said, fading has become part of professional golf these days. And now I think a lot of the holes at Augusta suit left-handers.
Well, the easiest hole at Augusta for a lefty, I can tell you this, is the 12th, the par 3.
Yeah, that's right.
Because my draw goes long right and my push goes short left.
And my push
yours
goes short right and my pull goes long left.
Exactly. You're stuffed.
Yeah. So there was a hole like that at Huntingdale as well. The old 15th at Huntingdale before they put the water down was a beautiful little hole like that. And all the members knew it. You blocked it slightly, you're in the trap. If you pulled it slightly, you're way down next to the old turkey nest dam. So you've got that sort of factored in as well.
Yeah, and at Augusta, the reverse is true for 16. It's a right-hander's hole rather than the lefty. So,
yes.
Yeah.
So much fun getting those voicemails. Thank you to Rai for that question, and also to Paul Higgins for his on the top 5 too. They're great.
Beautiful.
Fantastic. It's time for the Ping Global Results.
No, it's not. It's feedback.
It's time for the feedback, Dan. You can leave that in too. So we leave. Seeing we're leaving things in today, just leave it in.
We may as well. Hang on. We've got to get serious for a moment. No laughing.
Why?
You've had a whack.
Oh,
Straight in there.
Let's
You've
go.
had a whack.
Early.
This is on last week's Nick O'Hearn masterclass, which you did on the lie. You
Yes.
remember that? Roving Bomber has written in.
Let me guess.
He's unhappy.
Not the camera work.
He's unhappy.
Surely.
What do you think, Nick?
Got to be the camera work.
Roving Bomber has said, videographer, small improvement. You got 1 out of 2 shots in camera. Marco, I think you need to get your kids involved to improve the technology. You are lucky you have 12 or 13 hole-in-ones because you would have been given the arse otherwise.
Yeah, that is true. Actually, we were so lucky when we filmed it because there were a lot of planes that day. The wind must have been the right direction for the planes to take off and land in that direction. So I think there for a little while I was more concerned with the next plane coming along than I was the actual shot, Nick. So I apologise. Sorry, Bomber. I apologise.
We had a lot of feedback on your discussion last week about miking up the caddies. Remember, you guys were both, I think you were both in favour of it. You both said, it'd be a great idea. I'd love to see
it. It has to happen at some stage.
So some mixed feedback. Mick Golfer 4 has said, not necessary. You can usually hear their tactic conversations as long as the TV commentators don't talk over the top of them.
Yeah, well, that's very important that the commentators do not talk over the top. And the other one too, when a rules official is giving a ruling, just let's have a listen. Let's
Yeah.
have a listen. It's very important.
Yep.
Good stuff.
N. Canton from Great Britain has said no. There's already enough mics out there. We can hear the tactics. Give the team the space they need to focus.
Where's he from? Great Britain.
Great Britain.
Is that why you did the funny no? No.
No, I just...
You didn't do an Aussie no.
Oh, sorry about that.
You didn't
oh,
go
oh,
no.
okay. Well, gee, I apologise.
Okay.
Jeez.
I thought you just
Give me a whack there.
I thought you were improvising.
No,
Good
I
stuff.
wasn't. Glenn Dodds has also written in on the same topic. He says, yes, it's another great innovation for golf. Ball Tracker has made golf a better spectacle. I'd like to see the commentary, like the Australian Tour last year, not be so formal. A few stories and a good laugh would make the other tours more enjoyable, I reckon.
Oh, it's nice.
Very good.
Ball Tracker, the best thing that happened to golf coverage,
Indeed.
without a doubt.
D3 Golf has said, mic 'em up for certain. That'd be some great content, but even better to have Nick O'Hearn online to interpret the strategy as well, because sometimes it can be complicated, as well as a third set of eyes adds perspective.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe we should do some Talk Birdie to Me commentary on some of the overseas events.
That's
online.
not silly.
Might have to get up early, though.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Is it possible to do? I couldn't imagine coming to your place with your jammies, Jim Jams
No,
on,
that's
and
true.
have a Milo and a piece
The
of
European
toast while
tour.
we're watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, European tours to go.
The final comment on that particular issue is from John Hare. John has said, you might have to include a parental guidance warning if Hatton was mic'd up.
Yes, indeed.
Accurate.
He was one. I think I made a couple of comments. He was one I definitely loved to hear get mic'd up. Jordan Spieth was another.
Yeah.
Lexi Thompson, because Lexi, she's always having a fascinating discussion with her caddy.
Yeah, I like all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, one more bit of feed. Well, it's kind of a question, really. Then we've got a couple of questions to go. Jake has written in, and Jake said, boys, great potty. I'm struggling with pure contact on severe downslope wedge shots and shanked one recently, which cost me big time in the club championship. Any help would be amazing. Keep up the great work and the wine reviews.
Righto.
You're looking at me, Dan.
Well,
Sorry.
So-
I can tell you had a nice wine last night.
Geez, is there any night you don't drink, Nick? What's going on?
No.
End of story. I'll have a go at this one because you gave the same tip, I reckon, a couple of weeks ago.
To BJ Carter, who did a voicemail. Yeah, but you go this time.
Okay, so if it's a severe downslope, even if it's not a severe downslope, you've got to lean forward and get your spine perpendicular to the slope. Now, that's really, really important. If you're not doing that, it's equivalent of just kind of getting all your weight on the back foot off a flat lie. I mean, you're going to hit behind the ball the whole time, or you're going to top the ball. So that's just the most important thing. And the bigger the slope, the wider, I think, the stance needs to be. Otherwise, you'll be tipping over. If you've got a really narrow slope, a narrow stance on that big slope at the 15th at Augusta, for instance, the third shot, you would almost tip over. So you need to match your stance width with the level of slope. And you certainly have to have your spine perpendicular to the slope as well. And then it's just swing away.
Yeah.
Swing away, and you should make reasonable contact. I can't help you with the shank on the downslope.
Well, what I find is most people do not widen their stance enough. So
Yeah,
over-exaggerate that, and then you can always dial it back from there.
Yeah.
Stuart's written in with a question, and I think this is going to be the easiest question to answer for the entire year. Stuart said, hey, Marco and Nick, I've been playing golf for 30 years, and my 16-year-old son is smashing me. He's off 12. He's playing off 12. My golf's getting worse. Off 12 for a 16-year-old's not too shabby.
Yeah, that's good.
He's playing off 12. My golf is getting worse, and I think it's because my clubs are 15 years old. I think it's time for a new set. Can you please give me some advice where a 55-year-old bloke should go to get fitted? Really look forward to the new episodes every week. Looking forward to the Ryder Cup, and keep up the good work, lads. Thanks.
I think you can buy a good game. I think golf technology has come so far. And I don't think most people need 14 clubs. I think most people could get around with a very simple set of 10 and a putter. But if you're not hitting the ball very far and you haven't got hybrids and 5-woods in your golf bag, then you're doing yourself a disservice, because the harder the clubs are to hit, normally the more you've got to help the ball up in the air. And I think we've done a masterclass just recently where the more you try and help the thing in the air, the harder this game becomes. So if you can fill your golf bag with clubs that are easy to elevate, I think in the end you have a much better repeating swing in this game.
Very true. Get some hybrids, then obviously go to your local Ping outlet. Or is it Stuart? Is he here in Melbourne?
He lives in Bentley East in Melbourne, yes.
Oh, there you go. We'll go visit Matt Austin in Moorabbin at the Ping warehouse, and they'll look after you.
The other place you go is Golf Clearance Outlet too. They've got some good stuff too.
That's the other one.
That
Of
is
course.
right, and get fitted wherever you go, and if you don't want to, you don't have to look the sales guy in the eyes and jump up and down and say, I don't want 14 clubs. If you want a set of 10 clubs and a putter, just tell them. That's really important. Just say, I just want 10. Give me 2 woods, some hybrids, and some irons. And you don't have to have a 60-degree lob wedge. In fact, most people can't hit a 60-degree lob wedge. Just get the 58.
Yep.
A 58 and a 52, wedge onwards, away you go.
I only play with 8 or 9 these days, so that's all you need, right?
And it makes me sick.
We want to post on Facebook this week or the last few days ago from people to post pictures of their local and a hole and what it was. We've got some great photos. James Nicholas put a photo of the 17th at Heidelberg, which is a par 3.
It's a beauty.
Cam Stewart put a photo of the 2nd and 3rd at Woodend. Jake, the 4th hole, which is a par 5 at Lura.
Yeah.
Which looked beautiful.
And Lura, I've never seen Lura.
No,
Looked
neither have I.
beautiful. Luke Colbert, this looked amazing. Luke put a photo of the 17th hole, par 3 at the Sands in Torquay.
Ooh.
Yes, it's a beauty.
It looked absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
And I say my favourite, but it's my favourite because it was a bit of a wanky one. Your mate, Ray Mack, put a photo up
Yes.
of him choppering into Tara Iti in New Zealand.
Oh,
Are
trust.
you
What a
joking?
wank.
Champagne Ray. We're going to call him that
Oh,
from now, I think.
Jeez.
Uh,
But we want more photos too. It's on Facebook, so go and have a look. There's a whole bunch of them there. Just whack your photo up and leave it there. It's really good.
That'd be great. All right, Facebook, get there, and we want to see all those pictures. Thank you, Dan. Thanks for all the feedback, folks. We really appreciate it. Get in touch with any of our socials, and we'll try our very best to get you on the show. It is now time for the Ping Global Results.
It is now time, yes.
Thank goodness.
Quite a bit happening around the world of golf. We already covered the DP World Tour and the PGA Tour. LPGA Tour had a week off. They're going to be playing the Solheim
Yeah.
Cup this week.
They've
Now,
been busy, the girls, by the way. They've been playing a lot of events.
They have been playing a lot, yes, for sure. And I tell you, Europe versus America, they're playing in Finca Cortesen in Andalusia, Spain, down in southern Spain, not far from Valderrama and all those great courses down there. This is going to be close. I think this is going to be a really close contest. And who knows what will happen there. But both teams have 3 Ping players, by the way. 3 Americans and 3 of the Europeans.
So you give them
So
Ping a good run.
I'm
these
giving
days.
them a
Look at
great
you.
run in this episode, aren't we? But look forward to seeing what happens there, and we'll talk more about those results next week in the Solheim Cup. Around the traps, our good friend Steve Stricker racks up another win on the Champions Tour.
Unbelievable.
He's unbelievable. He's won 6 out of 15 tournaments this year.
Yeah.
6 out of 15. I mean, that's Tiger-esque, isn't it?
Ridiculous.
Incredible.
Ridiculous.
The record, by the way, is 9 in one season. And
Held by?
we know one,
Peter Thompson.
The
other?
The other is Hal Irwin.
Hal Irwin,
So I reckon
correct.
Steve's got a chance to equal that. But from the Aussies, we had Richard Green again, tied 12th. Rod Pampling tied 18th. And Stuart Appleby, best of the Aussies there, tied 29th.
Stewie's still swinging them well. I saw him swing a couple.
Yeah, he never
He's
swings it
going well.
bad. He never swings it
Yeah.
bad. It's just incredible.
How was the hair, though? How was his hair?
He's back to normal.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, he's got a Nick O'Hearn haircut.
There
these
you go.
days.
Sensible.
Yep.
There you
And
go.
Nick O'Hearn beard as well.
Oh,
Yeah, he's got a bit of both.
there you go.
He's looking very suave.
On the Corn Ferry Tour, which is this part of the final series, second of the 4 events to get the card. Grayson Murray had a 3-shot win there. Curtis Luck, best of the Aussies, tied for 26. So 2 more tournaments there for the Aussies. We've got 4 Aussies playing those finals. We got Brett Druitt, Rain Gibson, Curtis Luck, and Dimi Papadatos,
Yeah.
all trying to get their card for the PGA Tour next year. Now, the interesting thing is, they have gone back to a Q school for the PGA Tour now.
I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know it either until I read about it. So at the end of the season, they have the PGA Tour Q school presented by Corn Ferry. That's what it's called
Right.
these days. And they give out 5 cards, direct access back onto the PGA Tour. Because before it was only you could get onto the Corn Ferry Tour.
Yeah.
So they've changed it back that way. And then the rest of the guys, they then get status on Corn Ferry and so on. But they do give out 5 cards. So
Okay.
we'll look at some of the Aussies playing that when it does come
So
up.
there's still a tour school for the Corn Ferry Tour
No,
then?
this is it. This is PGA Tour Q school.
So how do you get on the Corn Ferry Tour?
Well, if you don't finish in the top 5, well, then the next probably 20 or 30 guys, they're exempt for the Corn Ferry
Right.
Tour, and then it goes from there back,
Okay. But
staggers back from there.
But if you're new to the game, let's say you're fresh out of college or, you Golf Australia, you've done your time here at Golf Australia and you
Yep.
want to play in America, what's your method to getting on the Corn Ferry Tour these days?
It's called qualifying. This is the qualifying school. It's the same. It's still 4 stages,
Yeah.
4, which is crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
If you have any status here in Australia, you're probably going to get through to the 2nd stage and then obviously try and advance to the 3rd and then the finals. It's same as what it was before, but
tough.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So,
Tough going.
Yes. Epsom Tour, which is the secondary tour in the US for the women. American Sydney Clanton had a nice win there in Alabama. Best of the Aussies, Robin Choi tied 16th, and Cassie Porter played well as well, tied 24th. Over on the Ladies European Tour, Swiss Open, Germany's Alexandra Fosterling had a 2-shot win, a nice win for the German. And K-Rudge, Mount Lawley's Kirsten Rudgley, tied for 54th there.
Nice seeing Cassie Porter do well. We
yeah.
both thought she had a wonderful game, didn't we, at 13th Beach at the Victorian Open last year.
Certainly did.
So it's
Certainly
good to
did.
see her playing well. We know she could be something reasonably special if everything just clicks into place for her.
I think very special, to be honest. She has a lot of club head speed and a great short game. I think Brett Rumpin's been helping her out with a short game.
Well, that's a step up.
Look out there. Yeah, Christelle Blum on the LET Access Tour, the secondary tour there in the Europe for the women. She had a nice finish, tied for 5th, which was great. In the Calais Open, here's a little different one too. The Mid-Am, the US Mid-Am.
Yeah.
Okay, the winner gets into the Masters and the Open Championship.
That's right.
Stuart Hagestad, American.
Yeah.
He won for the 3rd time.
Are you joking? He's had 3 runs in Augusta winning this thing.
Yes, exactly. So
unbelievable.
when you think about USGA titles and who's won more than 3 events, guess who's in that category? That's Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, and all those. He's moved himself in a very high echelon, but we had...
Tiger, Jack and Stewie.
Yeah, that's But Harry Bolton qualified for the match play, which is great. So this is the over 25s. So the US amateurs, anyone, but US mid-am is for 25 and over. He qualified for the match play. New Zealand Sam Jones got all the way through to the quarterfinals, which was good. And actually, a couple of guys from a place I used to live at, Isleworth in the US, leading after the stroke play was a guy called Geronimo Esteve. He's like probably...
His name is not Geronimo.
Geronimo. It certainly is.
It is not.
He led the stroke play, but he got beaten after a couple of rounds. And then the other guy, Stuart Hagestad, he actually defeated my next-door neighbour's son in the round of in the second or third round, Mark Costanza.
Costanza.
Yeah, Mark Costanza.
It's another famous name. What's going on over there?
It's all happening over there. So it was a hell of a win by Hagestad anyway, after he just won the Walker Cup too. So he's having quite a good run at the moment. But coming up this week, as I mentioned, Solheim Cup, Live Golf returns, Live Chicago.
Yep, second last event, isn't it?
Second or third, I think so, yeah.
Penultimate, I think.
And the French Open is on the DP World Tour back at Le Golf National, where they had the Ryder Cup a few years ago. I used to love playing there. It was a lot of fun. So that's what's coming up, and there are the results.
Well done.
I kind of feel with your top 5 great names in golf a week or two ago, Mark.
Yeah,
I think
gone early.
You've missed, you've missed the headline here, Geronimo.
Well, he's not a pro though, so
there you go.
It doesn't count.
Okay,
Doesn't
right,
count.
there
But
you
it's
go.
still an excellent name. Nick, it is time for your top 5.
So, my top 5 this week, it's an unusual one. During the week on social media, if you had seen it, there was a guy playing at Wentworth, a left-hander hit this putt, and then all of a sudden, 2 or 3 people just walked all over the line that the ball just ran on, so he couldn't actually see whether the ball went in. And
it was disgusting.
it was horrible, right?
It was horrifying to see that.
Now, Pablo Larrazabal was one of the players, and he actually came back and on Twitter or X, as they call it now, and he said, look, we were behind, we had to catch up time, but still, you can let the guy see whether the ball's going in or not. That was pretty ordinary. That doesn't make my top 5, but that's what it's all about. Top 5, poor form, basically.
Oh, I like it. Yeah. If Colin Montgomery's not in here somewhere... We can no longer be friends.
Well, this is not my top 5
you.
because he never ripped his glove off in my backswing. So
okay.
I know he did it to you a few times.
A few times, all day.
We have a bit of a tie for 5th at the moment.
Oh, it's a top 6.
Yeah, it's a top 6. So because the Solheim Cup's on, I wanted to get that team match play, and it's a tie between. We had 2021 Solheim Cup. Where were we? I think we're in Inverness, Ohio. Madeline Sagstrom picked up Nellie Calder's ball as it sat on the lip. I don't know if you remember this.
Could have gone in.
Could have gone in for the eagle, and it just sat there. So she wanders over, picks it up, throws it back to her. It's like, hang on.
You can't do that.
As it turned out, the official came along and said, no, you didn't give her the 10 seconds. That's in, accounted, and they ended up going on to win the match. So
that's a good one.
It was a nice trick anyway. But
that is a belter.
Yeah, the other one on the Ryder Cup side, the men's side, well, who can go past 1999 at Brookline, 17th green?
How is this not number 1?
I'm going for there's a good number 1 coming.
Okay.
Brookline, when Justin Leonard hold that putt against Jose Maria, I lost my ball.
Yeah. I lost my ball, yeah.
That's his nickname. And the entire American team, wives, physios, trainers, everyone ran onto that 17th green, and Jose still had a putt to keep the match going.
And over his line.
Yes, ran on his line.
Not just
as
on the
well.
green,
Yeah.
over his line.
It wasn't good. So anyway, that's tied for 5th. Number 4.
That's tied for 5th.
Well,
wow.
I was getting the team ones. This is more of an individual thing going here. So 4th was at the 2015 World Match Play at Harding Park when Miguel Jimenez and Keegan Bradley, I don't know if you remember this, they had a real good shouting match, back and forth about... Miguel went over to say, look, you need to take 2 club lengths here, and Bradley's going, yeah, I know the rule, just bugger off, go over there, and they started... And anyway, Bradley's caddy came in, his name was Pepsi. I don't know if you know that.
His name was not Pepsi.
They called him Pepsi. That's his nickname because what he used to do was he obviously loved Pepsi, but he also used to leave cans of it around the golf course early on throughout the round so that he could just go and grab them and drink them along the way. That's how he got the nickname.
Hang on, he would hide cans of Pepsi on the golf course.
On the golf course. Unbelievable, isn't it?
Oh, caddies, there is just no end to what they do.
But those guys were just going back and forth, yelling at each other's faces, and it was just very, very funny to watch. Number 3, 2002, Australian PGA Championship at Coolum. John Daly playing with Jared Mosley on the Friday. Shot 78, threw his ball in the pond, his putter in the pond, and walked straight back up 18 to the villa and said, I'm out of here. And they DQ'd him, obviously, for not signing his card.
That was a belter.
That was a beauty.
Have you got the other John Daly one in Australia on your top 5?
What was that one going?
I'll quickly give it to you. He was playing the Lakes, and he didn't want to be there.
Oh, yes.
And he hit every ball he had in his golf bag into, what was it, the 15th? Is it the 15th hole there at the Lakes? Might have been the 14th. The 14th hole.
Might be 11, I think.
11.
Yep.
We'll get it right,
we'll get
folks.
It right.
We'll get it. It's one of the lakes at the Lakes, and then as he's walking off the golf course, he walked past the photographer, and his then wife whacked the photographer. So there was some double-edged poor form on a golf course.
I think she had the matching skirt, didn't she, to his pants.
And whacked this guy's just taking a photo of it. She just went whoosh, whacked him right around the chops.
All right, number 2, 2005, Booz Allen Classic.
Good name for a tournament.
It is Booz Allen. Yeah, it's at the Congressional Golf Club in Washington D.C. Do you remember this? Rory Sabatini playing with Ben Crane.
Good one.
And Ben Crane is one of the slowest players out on tour. And Rory had just had enough and decided, right, I'm out of here. And he just finished out, kept walking to the next tee. And Ben hadn't even got to the green and just started playing in front of him.
He hit on the next tee
He did.
before Crane putted out on the green beforehand.
He was just, because Ben was obviously known as one of the slowest players. Jeff Ogilvy made a great comment afterwards. He said, we all feel for Rory. He played 3 rounds with Ben, and Ben will admit that's painful. Very good. And then number 1,
that's good.
I was actually playing in this tournament, the 2007 CA Championship at Doral.
Yeah.
Remember they used to play the tournament there at Doral? And I hope Sergio was behind me. I think he probably was at that stage, but he decided he misses a putt on the 13th hole, and then he spat in the cup because he was not very happy. So that is my number 1 poor form.
That is a beauty, and rightfully so, at the top of the tree.
Not a good one. He also had one where he kicked his shoe off at the 18th tee at Wentworth, actually.
Yeah. And he's killed about 15 snakes just recently in bunkers and all kinds of stuff.
He's a big snake killer.
When he gets going on that snake killing action, it's not 1 or 2 hits, it's 15. It's 15 swashbuckling sword fight.
It's he's that Spanish blood. He gets fired up and away he goes. But anyway, it was that was an interesting top 5 this week. But now, time for your masterclass.
And it is on the back of a very good win in Europe on the Legends Tour over there by Scott Hend. Again, if you're not on Twitter, if he misses a cut, which he probably won't do too much of anymore, get on Twitter and just watch him fire up. It is fantastic. But if you are a slicer of the golf ball, this one is for you, because I want you to go on Twitter, go anywhere social, look his swing up, Scott Hend on YouTube, and have a look at his left-hand grip. It is one of the strongest grips in the world of golf. And Hendy, he can do whatever he likes. He can draw the ball, he can fade the ball, he can do whatever he pleases.
And he hits it a long way,
and he hits it a million miles. Quite often when I play with people who have a horrifying slice, it's because when they get to the top of their golf swing, The club face is a million miles open at the top of the golf swing, and they can just never square it up on the way down. Now, I believe, and I always tell people, that the top hand on your grip, that's the steering wheel. The bottom hand adds the force, but the top hand is the steering wheel. Now, if you're a big slicer, I want you to grip it like Scotty Hend. I want you to grip it like Lee Trevino. I want you to grip it like Fred Couples. I want you to grip it like Paul Azinger. I want you to grip it like a lot of players who have made millions and millions and millions of dollars playing the great game of golf, because not everybody's the same. And like putting styles, golf grips are very, very personal. So if you've been a very big slicer your whole life and you don't know what to do, let's think outside the square here and let's go and change that top hand grip. And I want you to feel like the palm is right on top of that putter. The trap is people put their thumb underneath when they do that. Your thumb's always got to be on the shaft. That's very, very important. And then just put your right hand on where it feels comfortable.
So how many knuckles are you going to see as you look down?
If you're a really big slicer, I want you to see every single one of them.
Really? That many? Okay.
Just like Scotty Hend, just like Fred Couples, just like... who's our guy? Brooks Koepka.
Yep.
He's probably a 3.5 knuckle kind of guy. But it's very, very important. Like I said, it might save you from going down and seeing your local PGA professional just a little bit. You still need to go there and get a little tune up. But I promise you, if you've got a big slice and you're holding the club and you can only see one knuckle, 4 knuckles is going to help that slice a hell of a lot.
Love it. And I'm going to make sure my camera work is spot on when you show this later on too, Mark. I don't want any wax.
Good on you, Nick. Always fun. Dan, see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that's Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen's podcast, Talk Birdie to Me. And if you're looking for some new clubs, whether you're a male or a female, Ping are the best in the business and they'll help you play your best. Contact your local golf shop or professional and they'll sort you out with a fitting. If you can, we'd love it if you could rate and review the podcast wherever you listen and tell a friend about it. Word of mouth is the best recommendation. Talk Birdie to Me's executive producer is Dan Bradley at Kaizen Media and sound design, Daryl Misson at loudzebra.com. So you guys played at the highest level, pros, travel the world, you know everything about golf pretty much.
Yeah.
I was in the pro shop here at Australian Golf Headquarters before we came in.
Yeah.
There's a cap in there.
Yeah.
It's got a high-performance cap. What the hell's a high-performance cap?
Nice and light.
Yeah. Breathable.
Breathable.
And it helps you read your putts.
That's right.
Yeah.